Good evening. The bromance between Donald Trump and Elon Musk has blown up in spectacular fashion. The US president and his former first buddy ramping up their public insults. The bitter stoush ending one of the most powerful relationships in the world.
The war of words still ramping up between President Trump and Elon Musk, the two of them going back and forth.
The very public feud between Donald Trump and Elon Musk exploded on social media yesterday, with both men trading insults. Well, while a call might have been in prospect, the White House now reports that there are no plans for the US president to talk to Elon Musk today. There had been some speculation of that, but the White House pushing back against that.
The extraordinary squabble happened before the eyes of the world as the president was meeting with the Chancellor of Germany in the Oval Office.
You could see he looked visibly sad when talking about this fraying relationship with someone that he has viewed for so long now as a good friend of his.
Members of Trump's team have reached out to Elon Musk. No response.
Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if we're well anymore. I was surprised.
So there was this exchange between President Trump and Elon Musk online, and it's really raising some eyebrows on their bromance. Basically, President Trump threatened to cancel Musk's government subsidies and contracts as an approach to saving the American taxpayers billions of dollars.
He claims Musk has turned against him because the big, beautiful bill removes the tax credits for buying electric cars, like Teslas.
At first, they came to blows over the so-called big, beautiful bill, the Trump-backed budget that gutted incentives for electric vehicles. Bad news for Musk's company, Tesla, the very same car Trump paraded on the White House lawn this spring.
Claimed that he only started to take issue with it and had a problem with it once he left the administration, but also once he learned of the breadth of the electric vehicle mandate, really the credits that are being revoked in this bill that, of course, could and will impact Tesla.
In response, Musk threatened the immediate decommissioning of the Dragon spacecraft, which is the only U.S. vehicle that transports crew to the International Space Station. So, where is this feud coming from? Well, the feud stems from disagreements over Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act, a tax and spending proposal that passed the House of Representatives without any Democratic support.
Tonight, President Trump's allies defending his so-called One Big Beautiful Bill against opposition from fellow Republicans.
The Big Beautiful Bill, man, it's generating a lot of controversy, a lot of debate, a lot of heat, but I think it's also generating a lot of confusion and therefore not a lot of light.
I'm very disappointed because Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here, better than you people. He knew everything about it. He had no problem with it. All of a sudden he had a problem, and he only developed the problem when he found out that we're going to have to cut the EV mandate.
The bill includes extended tax cuts, boosted immigration enforcement, and stricter work requirements for federal aid recipients, a move that is projected to increase the national debt by $2.4 trillion to $5 trillion, while making major cuts to Medicaid and food assistance programs.
At issue, the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office predicting the bill could add $3.8 trillion to the federal deficit over 8 years. But Johnson flat out rejecting that.
It's not going to add to the debt.
The bill would extend Trump's 2017 tax cuts, end federal taxes on tips and overtime pay, spend nearly $50 billion to resume construction of a border wall, and slash funding for Medicaid.
They're cutting Medicaid, throwing 15 million people off their health care in order to fund a tax cut for the super wealthy and for corporations. That is just fundamentally immoral.
And Lindsay, the CBO estimates these Medicaid cuts could leave more than 8 million Americans without health insurance. But the White House insists no one is losing their coverage. Despite all this pushback, Republicans are aiming to get this bill to President Trump's desk by July 4th.
Here are the components. There are $1.5 trillion in federal spending cuts. The 2017 tax cuts extended permanently. Also eliminates tax on tips and overtime. Importantly, there's border security funding and stricter eligibility requirements for Medicaid. Several other elements as well there in the bill, including stripping states of the right to make laws or regulate AI for something like 10 years. But see, the White House is still touting its main provisions, and they summarize it as follows. Here's Stephen Miller. He wrote, 1, It's the most significant border security and deportation effort in history, including the entire wall up front, now with no possibility of Democrat obstruction. 2, extension, full extension and expansion of the Trump tax cuts. This is what the CBO is scoring, not spending. Tax cuts, the ones we campaigned on. And 3, the largest welfare reform in history, cutting almost $2 trillion in spending.
The One Big Beautiful Bill is a big first step to provide relief for the American people.
Speaker Johnson now urging his Senate colleagues to get on board after the bill narrowly passed the House by just one vote.
If the deficit savings, if the deficit reduction is real, why do you need to raise the debt ceiling?
Well, it's kind of like buying a failing business, right? My wife and I used to buy companies all the time, and sometimes we'd have to borrow money to purchase a failing company, but we knew the projection. We knew that we could get it into the black while it was in the red, but we had to go over a hump. We inherited a crap show from the Biden administration. They had literally doubled almost every agency's budget in the last 4 years. We're in debt. We can't just simply stop spending that debt and expect that we're going to pay it off all at the same time. We have to borrow the money to get us over the hump to let Biden's policies fade out and Trump's policies increase. We know for sure that when we make tax cuts permanent, when we did this in 2017, CBO said we was going to have a $1.5 trillion deficit, and actually what happened is the economy increased by $1.7 trillion is what we ended up bringing into the Treasury. So we have to borrow to get us past this point. Immediately, those two lines will start closing as we start seeing Trump's policies continue to go into effect. We see the economy come roaring back. We see the manufacturing come back. Right. We see jobs increase. We see wages come home increase. We will start seeing the spending go down because, by the way, this is just the first cut at deficit spending, which we're cutting $1.5 trillion in deficit spending. We're eventually going to cross those lines. Now, where does that line cross? The reason why we're doing $4.5 trillion, almost $5 trillion in the debt increase is because those lines will cross about the same time that runs out. If we don't do it, because we're going to have to do it, we're not going to default, right? We're not going to default on our payments. We have to pay our debt. We borrowed it, we spent it, we got to pay it. So if we don't do it in the reconciliation, our next choice, with reconciliation, we only have to have 51, meaning we don't have to negotiate with anybody but ourselves. If we do it again later, which we're going to have to do it this summer, then if we don't do it through reconciliation, it'll be a 60-vote threshold, and we'll have to give away the keys to the White House.
Deficits and debt have racked up over decades and years. So do you agree with President Trump then? He just put this out about the debt ceiling. I think we can pull that up. He said that he wants to do away with the debt ceiling. He said, I'm very pleased to announce that after all these years, I agree with Senator Elizabeth Warren on something. The debt limit should be entirely scrapped to prevent economic catastrophe. It's too devastating to be put in the hands of political people that may want to use it despite the horrendous effect it could have on our country and indirectly on the world. So he doesn't want to, Senator, incrementally raise the debt ceiling. He wants to do away with it as something that controls government spending.
Well, here's what I would say. Elizabeth wants to do away with it because she doesn't believe in you can't spend enough, right? You're going to spend like a drunken sailor. What the president is referring to here, I believe, is like it should be tied to the budget. If the budget is passed and we're spending X amount of dollars, then we should automatically assume that's going to be part of the debt. And so if we're going to pass a budget and we're going to pass appropriation bills, then those two should be tied on together. And he's not wrong on that, because what happens every time we run up to a debt limit increase, it becomes a negotiating political tool, and everything in the kitchen sink gets thrown in. And it's not simply just raising, and it's not simply just raising the debt limit. You get all types of pet projects that ends up increasing the debt again.
That you will go back to Congress. You've already had one $9 billion suggestion to bring more DOGE cuts in, but that's not satisfying Elon. Why do you think he is dissatisfied, and many others, with the level of spending cuts you brought in through reconciliation?
Well, everybody wants more, but even through reconciliation, it's a very thin window because it is mandatory spending, but you can't touch Social Security. So the biggest thing in mandatory spending is Social Security. We can't even get into Social Security to do the waste and fraud. That has to go through, honestly, the appropriation and the discretionary spending to get into it. So reconciliation has a very narrow window. We can only do a mandatory spending and just deal with Medicaid. We also can only deal with taxes. Very small window. When we start dealing with rescission has to be very specific. That deals with, once again, discretionary or spending, and it has to be sent to Congress. Congress has to vote because it's a special privilege. It only takes 51 votes at the same time. But Congress can't enact the rescission. The White House has to send it to us, and we have 40 days to handle it.
Musk, in criticizing the bill's cost, urged Republicans to withdraw support from the bill, claiming it undercuts the cost-saving measures he championed for while he was in charge of the Department of Government Efficiency. According to Musk and other critics, the bill risks bankrupting America because of the massive deficit increase and unsustainable debt.
Much has been touted about cutting back on Joe Biden's Green New scam. Now, this is green energy tax incentives that have been rolled back. These include zero-emission projects that do not begin construction within 60 days and clean energy vehicle tax credits. This has, surprisingly to some, made people wonder why are Republican senators opposed to the big, beautiful bill. Well, you can take a look. Senators like John Curtis of Utah or Tom Tillis of North Carolina have concerns. And you have to say, what is it about their constituency, at their states, they want to hang on to some of these green energy tax credits? But it's not just green energy. There are cuts to Medicaid. As you heard Stephen Miller respond, Medicaid is one of the biggest reforms in this bill is to entitlement programs in Medicaid in quite some time. There's an estimated $600 to $880 billion in cuts over a decade to Medicaid. How do they do that? You've heard Republicans talk a lot about work requirements, eligibility requirements. Well, more frequent eligibility requirements requiring re-verification every 6 months. But some, like Senator Susan Collins of Maine, and we've heard similar sounds from Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri, are worried. They're trying to figure out what the provider tax reforms are, but she's worried about the effect on rural hospitals in Maine. All right, and then finally, there's how much of a deficit savings actually is there in this bill? Well, according to the CBO, the big, beautiful bill adds $2.4 trillion over the next 10 years. It's $3.7 trillion in tax cuts, and then you take out the spending cuts. Now, this is what Stephen Miller and Mike Johnson are saying is not accurate. They don't like the CBO's accounting, and they don't like tax cuts, which we live under and with right now, counted as contributing to the deficit.
The bill increases spending for the military and for border over $300 billion. The DOGE cuts, which aren't in this bill, were about $200 billion. So this bill actually increases in the first couple of years spending more than all the DOGE cuts combined. My objection to the bill is they're going to raise the debt ceiling more than they ever have, $5 trillion, and that this will be the largest increase in the debt ceiling ever. And if the Republicans all vote for it, the Republicans will own the debt.
But they're pushing back.
Well, the math doesn't really add up.
Budget hawk Senator Rand Paul says there are enough unconvinced Republicans to block its passage.
I think there are 4 of us at this point, and I would be very surprised if the bill at least is not modified in a good direction.
Republican Senator Joni Ernst facing backlash after she dismissed those concerns at a town hall in Iowa.
People are not, well, we all are going to die. So, for heaven's sakes.
Ernst then giving a sarcastic apology on social media.
So, I apologize. And I'm really, really glad that I did not have to bring up the subject of the tooth fairy as well.
Elon Musk has gone absolutely scorched earth on the big, beautiful bill. He wrote on X, call your senator, call your congressman. Bankrupting America is not okay. Kill the bill. Now this, as Elon's continuous opposition, is throwing House Speaker Mike Johnson for a loop.
Elon and I left on a great note. We were texting one another, happy texts, Monday. And then yesterday, 24 hours later, he does a 180 and he comes out and opposes the bill. And it surprised me, frankly. And I don't take it personal. We don't take it personal. You know, policy differences are not personal. I think he's flat wrong. I think he's way off on this, and I've told him as much, and I've said it publicly and privately. As you know, he's not delighted that Elon did a 180 on that. But look, I don't know what happened in 24 hours. Everybody can draw their own conclusions about that.
Other Republicans pushing back.
He's one man. He's not my constituent. He's not even a donor that I know of. So, you know, he's one guy.
Give us some productive feedback that we can operate on. I can't operate on platitudes, or I can't respond.
The president meeting with key senators at the White House, urging them to pass the package.
Congressional Republicans are walking a tightrope as they try to pass all of President Trump's legislative priorities in this tax cut and spending bill. They're trying to do it in one bill that can pass both houses of Congress without any Democratic support. Billionaire Elon Musk, who spent months trying to slash government spending as a temporary government employee, blasted the president's self-proclaimed big, beautiful bill as a disgusting abomination. Writing on X, Musk complained the president's plan will massively increase the gigantic budget deficit. Some GOP budget hardliners agree.
I can't in good conscience give up every principle that I stand for and every principle that I was elected upon, and that's that we can't accumulate more debt.
The White House is brushing off Musk's criticism.
Look, the president already knows where Elon Musk stood on this bill. It doesn't change the president's opinion. This is one big, beautiful bill, and he's sticking to it.
Mr. Musk and his chainsaw were brought into government to aggressively cut government spending. A pointless exercise, he thinks, if President Trump will blow all the savings on tax cuts in his spending bill.
You know, I was disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it, and undermines the work that the Doge team is doing.
Musk also accused Trump of personal and political failing, evidencing a widening rift in the Republican Party. In response, Trump labeled Musk as crazy, alleging that Musk was wearing thin and he had to ask him to leave, but not before taking away his EV mandate that had forced everyone to buy electric cars they didn't want. This was followed by the assertion that terminating Musk's contracts would be a major budget-saving move, revealing tensions between the bromance that has influenced American economics and the space exploration for a while now.
Musk called the budget bill an abomination that would add $2.5 trillion to the national debt and told his followers to kill the bill.
The national debt is important because it'll burden future generations with debt while dealing with service reduction. A $36.5 trillion national debt with a 124% debt-to-GDP ratio risks a fiscal crisis if the demand for the American dollar drops, hence causing market instability. It also limits the government's flexibility during crises. However, borrowing enables growth through low-interest rate investments. The dispute casts doubt on the bill's future in the Senate as lawmakers reconsider provisions like the state and local tax, SALT, deductions included with the sole intention of appeasing House Republicans from high-tax, Democratic-led states. Public reactions on X urged de-escalation, leading Musk to double down on the decommissioning within hours of users' advice. This whole exchange highlights the volatile nature of the relationship between Trump and Musk. Then threats of releasing the Epstein files came up, with Musk alleging that Trump being on the Epstein files was the only reason why the files hadn't been released publicly. Musk also quoted this 2022 New York Magazine piece where Trump labels Epstein as a fun guy to be with, who likes beautiful women like he does, with many of them being on the younger side. Musk also quoted this 1992 video of Trump hanging out with Epstein in a move that appears to be a low blow.
The footage, shot in November of 1992, before Trump opened the resort as a club, shows the future president surrounded by cheerleaders for the Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins, capturing Trump's fun-loving bachelor lifestyle for an appearance on Faith Daniels' NBC talk show.
We're going to get great ratings in your show.
Trump is surrounded by women as music blares in the background. After after a while, Trump goes to greet 3 new guests, among them the financier Jeffrey Epstein.
Come on in. Go inside.
More than a decade before his guilty plea on state prostitution charges. Later in the footage, Trump is seen talking to Epstein and another man as women are dancing in front of them. Trump alternates between dancing and pointing out women to Epstein and the other man and telling Epstein about the cameras. Though exactly what they say is difficult to understand as they discuss the women and their appearances, Trump gestures to one and appears to say to Epstein, "Look at her back there. She's hot." And then Trump says something else into Epstein's ear that makes him double over with laughter.
Elon, as a presentation from our country.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elon.
A golden key to the White House was Elon Musk's leaving present. Now, less than a week later, Donald Trump might want to think about changing the locks.
I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
Musk left the administration just 5 days ago. He had a black eye. Trump revealing today he offered Musk makeup.
You saw a man who was very happy when he stood behind the Oval desk. And even with the black eye, I said, "Do you want a little makeup? We'll get you a little makeup." But he said, "No, I don't think so," which is interesting and very nice. He wants to be who he is.
The president gave Musk extraordinary power, allowing him to eliminate entire federal agencies and to fire tens of thousands of workers. But tonight, Trump portraying Musk as another disgruntled former employee.
The president says Musk has a case of Trump derangement syndrome.
I'll tell you, he's not the first. People leave my administration, they leave, and they wake up in the morning, and the glamour's gone, the whole world is different, and they become hostile. Look, Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if we're well anymore. I was surprised because you were here. Everybody in this room practically was here as we had a wonderful send-off. He said wonderful things about me. You couldn't have nicer. Said the best things. He's worn the hat. Trump was right about everything. And I am right about the great, big, beautiful bill.
Musk was listening and he responded in real time, basically calling Trump a liar. False. This bill was never shown to me even once, he declared on social media as Trump bashed him. Such ingratitude. Without me, Trump would have lost the election.
Where is he? Come on up here, Elon.
Mr. Musk obviously adored being in the spotlight as he campaigned alongside Donald Trump. Today, he's claiming that without him and the more than $250 million he donated, the president would have lost the election.
Musk spent more than $288 million to help elect Trump. The president says he could have won without him.
I think I would have won. Susie would say I would have won Pennsylvania easily anyway.
Musk watching today, furious, posting, quote, "Without me, Trump would have lost the election."
Musk now claiming President Trump would have lost the election without his help. The tech billionaire poured more than $250 billion into Trump's campaign, but now the president likens him to another disgruntled former employee.
And here's another breakup hallmark. An official tells CNN that the president plans to get rid of that red Tesla that he purchased from Elon Musk in March. He's going to sell it or maybe even give it away.
We've got a live picture that we can show you of the driveway in between the White House and the old executive office building. Okay, there it is. The red Tesla with Florida tags that President Trump bought during a South Lawn Tesla showcase to help Musk while his businesses were being boycotted. We are told this is not going to be there for long because the plan now is to either give it away or sell it.
A top White House official tells Inside Edition that President Trump is selling his new Tesla and putting Elon Musk in the rearview mirror. He bought the red Tesla Model S in March for $80,000, no discount, to publicly boost support for Tesla when owners were being targeted. He's said to be so fed up with Musk, he may even give the car away. This morning, Trump told reporters over the phone he's not ready to forgive or forget.
The president says that he has no plans to speak with Musk, and he said that he thinks that Musk has got a problem. But behind the scenes, the push is on to get these men to bury the hatchet.
Musk's father joined the fray, speaking to Inside Edition.
I think they've been under a tremendous amount of pressure.
and for 5 months continually. So I would say let's give them a chance. Let's see what happens in the next few days. I have said to Elon, put an end to this right now.
Elon Musk's father has told the BBC Now that the row between his son and President Trump would fizzle out. Here's Errol Musk speaking to Newsday.
What I see here is, the field having been cleared of all the opposition. It's the bulls having their final round of seeing who's going to be the boss. It's a standard procedure for the last several thousand years among the leaders of countries, and it will fizzle out. It blew up over Elon's idea that there should be no form of payment to lawmakers in order to get their vote. They should not be bribed to get the vote, and so forth. So, unfortunately, in order to get the votes that Trump needs to get the bill through, he has to have their votes. So Elon is standing on principle, and it will fizzle out very soon.
Even Kanye is pleading with them to patch things up. Bros, please, no. We love you both so much. But the explosive war of words continues. Trump has 3.5 years left as president, but I will be around for 40+ years.
Elon Musk is illegal. He's got to go too.
Oh man, the girls are fighting, aren't they?
It's like coming down the stairs on Christmas morning and finding a second tree.
Is this Twitter war a cheesy gordita crunch wrap supreme? Because it's dripping hot, messy filth, and I'm eating up every sloppy bite.
I reckon Tesla shares are down 14% today, mainly on that comment about losing subsidies and contracts. That's the real killer here. It's not about the personalities, it's about the money. So I reckon Tesla shares have lost $140 billion worth today. He owns about a seventh of that, so you're about $20 billion down just on the day. That would be enough to put him in the top 10 of richest people in the UK on his losses just today. I reckon since the high point, the bromance, the height of the bromance, Tesla shares are down some 40%. So that's probably cost him about $70 billion. And don't forget, big losses also potentially on SpaceX. Now, SpaceX shares aren't publicly traded, but the US has largely outsourced a lot of their satellite program to Elon Musk. That's worth hundreds of billions as well, $350 billion. He owns 42% of that. If that was a publicly traded stock, I think it would be down even more than Tesla. So by my reckoning, since the height of their romance, he's lost over $100 billion. There are only 14 people in the history of the world who've ever made that much money. So as I say, one of the most expensive forays into politics of all time.
Tesla stocks plunged almost 15%, Trump's media 8%. And tonight, Trump's advisors are warning allies of both men, choose your fighter.
It's been just over 24 hours since the President Trump-Elon Musk friendship and alliance disintegrated into a ball of dust. And now the two men appear to be going through different stages of grief for President Trump. The stage seems to be acceptance. Today, he told CNN's Dana Bash in a phone call, quote, "I'm not even thinking about Elon. He's got a problem. The poor guy's got a problem," unquote. When Dana asked Trump, when Dana asked Trump about reports that he was going to have a phone call with Elon Musk, Trump said, quote, "No, I won't be speaking to him for a while, I guess, but I wish him well," unquote. As for Elon Musk, figuring out where he's at in the process of grief, well, that seems more complicated. Last night, he appeared to be in the bargaining stage. He replied to a random user on his X or Twitter platform who said, "This is a shame, this back and forth. You are both better than this. Cool off and take a step back for a couple days," to which Musk said, "Good advice. Okay, we won't decommission Dragon." That's a reference to his SpaceX Dragon spacecraft that yesterday Musk threatened to take away after Trump threatened to end Musk's lucrative government contracts.
Tonight, after that explosive public feud where Elon Musk launched several personal attacks against President Trump, the world's richest man is now apologizing to the world's most powerful man, looking to bury their bitter back and forth. Musk early this morning backing away from some of his online attacks, posting this apology. "I regret some of my posts about President Trump last week. They went too far." The president today telling the New York Post, quote, "I thought it was very nice that he did that." Earlier saying,
"I have no hard feelings. I was really surprised that happened."
And tonight, new details about the private personal diplomacy aimed at repairing their relationship. The New York Times reports Musk called President Trump Monday night, according to 3 people briefed on the conversation. And NBC News learning last Friday, Vice President Vance and the president's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, spoke to Musk, pushing him to end the feud, according to 2 sources familiar with the matter. Vance had publicly called on Musk to back down.
I'm always going to be loyal to the president, and I hope that eventually Elon kind of comes back into the fold.
President Trump has a long history of public feuds with people, seeing them as a villain, but then seeing them pretty soon as a friend.
The relationship between President Trump and Elon Musk has been a roller coaster, marked by public spats, reconciliations, and dramatic fallouts. Trump and Musk have had a host of public disagreements, as this is not the first one, but it could prove to be monumental. In 2016, Musk publicly criticized Trump during the presidential campaign, arguing that he was not the right person for the job, his main focus being questions about his character.
So in 2016, you and Elon had a falling out over your support of Donald Trump, which is very ironic because now he's Donald Trump's best friend.
Yeah, it's funny. It's weird. John Favreau turned across to me from the other side and said, so you support Trump? I believe you support Trump. So it was before the 2016 election, 6 months before the 2016 election. So I said, yes, I support Trump. And the result was, massive laughter. The whole crowd just burst into laughter. And, the 3 of us, Elon, Kimmel, and I, just sat there, while they laughed and laughed. And then finally, Favreau said, why? Why do you support Trump? With more laughter, So I said, well, he's just like us, he's just like us. To my mind, he's doing the same kind of work I always did, property development, and he's much bigger than I've ever been. And, it's great to see somebody who's not a career politician doing this kind of thing. Which they all laughed and said, no, he's they used profanity. They said he's a this and he's a that and he's a this and he's a that and everything, And they were all laughing their heads off. And this sort of brought the whole luncheon to a sort of grisly end. People started getting up and leaving and heading back to their vans, and I was left sitting alone in the restaurant. And then Elon and Kimmel came to me and said, what on earth do you think you're saying? And I said, well, he's just like us. I mean, Trump is just like us. He's us, he's who we are. And they said, Elon, Kimmel was frantically unhappy, using language I've never heard Kimmel use. Elon said, Trump is evil, and so on. Very matter of fact, said, look, he's evil. Get it into your head. And then they left. I was left sitting alone.
The year was 2011. The place, the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Trump and his wife Melania were guests at the glittering affair for the Washington elite. President Obama started mocking Trump mercilessly, mainly for the role Trump was playing in the birther movement that questioned whether Obama was really born in America.
No one is happier, no one is prouder to put this birth certificate matter to rest than the Donald. And that's because he can finally get back to focusing on the issues that matter. Like, did we fake the moon landing? What really happened in Roswell? And where are Biggie and Tupac? All kidding aside, obviously we all know about your credentials and breadth of experience. For example, no, seriously, just recently in an episode of Celebrity Apprentice at the steakhouse, the men's cooking team did not impress the judges from Omaha Steaks. And there was a lot of blame to go around, but you, Mr. Trump, recognized that the real problem was a lack of leadership. And so ultimately you didn't blame Little John or Meatloaf. You fired Gary Busey. And these are the kind of decisions that would keep me up at night. Say what you will about Mr. Trump, he certainly would bring some change to the White House. Let's see what we've got up there.
The insults didn't stop with the president. Listen to comedian Seth Meyers, the evening's guest host.
Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke.
Trump's reaction says it all. If looks could kill.
If he builds the wall the way he built Trump Towers, he'll be using illegal immigrant labor to do it. The second...
So cute. Such a cute soundbite. But here's the guy that buys a house for $179,000. He sells it to a lobbyist who's probably here for $380,000, and then legislation is passed. You tell me about this guy. This is what we're going to have as president.
Here's the guy that inherited $200 million. If he hadn't inherited $200 million, you know where Donald Trump would be right now? Selling watches in Manhattan.
I have to say, he lied this time. He lied. 100%. 100%.
You lied about the Polish workers.
Yeah.
You lied to the students of Trump University.
38 years ago.
Oh, he lied 38 years ago. All right, I guess there's a statute of limitation on lies.
America can't succeed unless you succeed.
And we are going to make our country great again.
That is why
I am officially running for President of the United States. I will build a great, great wall on our southern border, and I will have Mexico pay for that wall.
Raise your hand now if you won't make that pledge tonight. Mr. Trump.
I cannot say I have to respect the person that, if it's not me, the person that wins.
The American people are sick and tired of hearing about your damn emails.
Thank you. Me too. You could put half of Trump supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables.
Don't worry about that, baby. I love babies.
At a young age, my parents impressed on me the values that you work hard for what you want in life.
Michelle Obama gives a speech, and everyone loves it. It's fantastic. My wife, Melania, gives the exact same speech. And people get on her case.
You're a star. They let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the I can do anything.
We heard Donald talking about what he did to women. And after that, a number of women have come forward saying that's exactly what he did to them. Now, what was his response?
That was locker room talk. I'm not proud of it, but Bill Clinton was abusive to women. Hillary Clinton attacked those same women.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
Putin, from everything I see, has no respect for this person.
Well, that's because he'd rather have a puppet as president of the United States.
No puppet.
And it's pretty clear.
You're the puppet.
It's pretty clear you won't admit that the Russians.
One of the prides of this country is the peaceful transition of power, and that no matter how hard fought a campaign is, that at the end of the campaign, that the loser concedes to the winner.
I will tell you at the time. I'll keep you in suspense.
It's amazing I'm up here after Donald. I didn't think he'd be okay with a peaceful transition of power.
Just received a call from Secretary Clinton. She congratulated us, it's about us, on our victory.
During President Trump's first term, he frequently praised Musk as a great genius and admired Tesla and SpaceX's successes.
Ryan Priebus, Steve Bannon, Chief Strategist.
Microsoft, Mike Satya, pleased to be here.
Jeff Bezos, Amazon.com.
I won't tell you the hundreds of calls we've had asking to come to this meeting. I will say Peter was sort of saying, no, that company's too small. And these are monster companies. I want to start by thanking Peter because he saw something very early, maybe before we saw it. And of course, he's known for that in a different way. And I want to thank you, man. You're a very special guy. I want to add that I'm here to help you folks do well. And you're doing well right now, and I'm very honored by the bounce. They're all talking about the bounce, so right now everybody in this room has to like me at least a little bit. We want you to keep going with the incredible innovation. There's nobody like you in the world. Anything we can do to help this go along, and we're going to be there for you. And you'll call my people, you'll call me. It doesn't make any difference. We have no formal chain of command around here. We're going to do fair trade deals. We're going to make it a lot easier for you to trade across borders, because a lot of restrictions, a lot of problems. But I think you'll see. And if you have any ideas on that, that would be great.
Donald Trump is saying that Elon Musk is terrific and Musk will continue to help us. This is coming after Elon Musk announced his exit from the Trump advisory role, where President Donald Trump has called him as terrific, saying that Musk will continue helping the United States in other ways as well.
I do have to thank Elon. I do want to note, we just cut $3 billion in contracts because of Doge's work. That's $3 billion that hardworking families that won't have to work until April 15th to pay for the waste, fraud, and abuse that we continue to find in this government on behalf of taxpayers. So again, thank you, Elon, as well. Thank you.
Great job, Kelly. Thank you very much. Elon, I love the double hat, but
Yeah.
it's the only one that can do that. Get away with it.
Well, Mr. President, they say I wear a lot of hats. And as you can see, it's true. Even my hat has a hat.
In 2017, Musk joined 3 of Trump's advisory councils, that is, the Strategic and Policy Forum, the Manufacturing Jobs Initiative, and a business advisory group focused on infrastructure, even though he left in 2017 after Trump withdrew from the Paris Climate Agreement, tweeting, "Climate change is real." Leaving Paris is not good for America or the world, marking their first public fallout.
The best part about the Trump administration is going to be Elon Musk. More Elon Musk! Musk indeed did attend, and by the time the meeting had ended, he found himself along with Uber CEO Travis Kalanick on the President-elect's Economic Advisory Committee. The tech summit was held by Donald Trump in Trump Towers. This tech summit happened just this Wednesday, and Trump invited all the CEOs and COOs of all the big tech companies. And while the tech industry originally had the least in common with the president-elect, the overall consensus from the meeting is not negative. When issues concerning the H-1B1 visa were brought up, a visa that brings the world's best talent to universities in Silicon Valley, Trump said, "Let's fix that." Even though high-skilled immigration was originally something the industry was afraid Trump would reduce.
First, a tweet. Then in the Oval Office, President Donald Trump Wednesday promising a decision on the landmark Paris Climate Accord.
Very soon.
Are you leaning towards getting out?
You're going to find out very soon.
Leaving the global climate deal, in which 200 countries agreed to voluntarily reduce their greenhouse gas emissions, would fulfill a Trump campaign promise. The president claimed before taking office that climate change was a hoax created by the Chinese to hurt the US economy, an assertion that stands in defiance of broad scientific consensus.
Climate change is undeniable, climate action is unstoppable, and climate solutions provide opportunities that are unmatchable.
A senior European Union official saying the EU and China would reaffirm their commitment to the pact regardless of what the US does. The US is the world's second largest emitter of carbon, following only China. Beijing, however, has reaffirmed its commitment to meeting its targets under the Paris Accord, recently cancelling construction of about 100 coal-fired power plants and investing billions in massive wind and solar projects. Hundreds of high-profile businesses have also spoken out in favour of the deal, including Apple, Google and Walmart. Even fossil fuel companies such as Exxon, BP and Shell say the United States should abide by the deal. While Trump currently favours an exit, he has also been known to change his thinking on major decisions right until the last minute.
I feel that the United States has tremendous wealth. The wealth is under its feet. I've made that wealth come alive. We will soon be exporting. In fact, we're actually doing it now, exporting. But we are now the #1 energy producer in the world, and soon it will be by far, with a couple of pipelines that have not been able to get approved for many, many years. It'll have a huge impact. I'm not going to lose that wealth. I'm not going to lose it on dreams, on windmills, which, frankly, aren't working too well. I'm not going to lose it. So, Josh, in a nutshell, I want the cleanest water on earth. I want the cleanest air on earth. And that's what we're doing. And I'm an environmentalist. A lot of people don't understand that. I have done more environmental impact statements probably than anybody that's, I guess I can say definitely, because I've done many, many, many of them, more than anybody that's ever been president or vice president or anything even close to president. And I think I know more about the environment than most people. I want clean air. I want clean water. I want a wealthy country. I want a spectacular country with jobs, with pensions, with so many things. And that's what we're getting. So I want to be very careful. At the same time, you weren't called. At the same time, it's very important to me, we have to maintain this incredible place that we've all built.
My solemn duty to protect America and its citizens. The United States will withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord. So we're getting out. But we will start to negotiate, and we will see if we can make a deal that's fair. And if we can, that's great. And if we can't, that's fine. The Paris Climate Accord is simply the latest example of Washington entering into an agreement that disadvantages the United States to the exclusive benefit of other countries, leaving American workers, who I love, and taxpayers to absorb the cost in terms of lost jobs, lower wages, shuttered factories, and vastly diminished economic production. Thus, as of today, the United States will cease all implementation of the non-binding Paris Accord and the draconian financial and economic burdens the agreement imposes on our country. This includes ending the implementation of the nationally determined contribution and, very importantly, the Green Climate Fund, which is costing the United States a vast fortune. As someone who cares deeply about the environment, which I do, I cannot in good conscience support a deal that punishes the United States, which is what it does. The world's leader in environmental protection, while imposing no meaningful obligations on the world's leading polluters. For example, under the agreement, China will be able to increase these emissions by a staggering number of years, 13. They can do whatever they want for 13 years, not us.
This move broadly reflects Trump's pro-fossil fuels agenda, his pro-drilling agenda, his promises to boost oil and gas drilling that he made repeatedly throughout his campaign, and also reflects his skepticism of global warming, despite clear evidence that shows that the increase in extreme weather events that we're seeing is related to climate change. Now, as you mentioned there, this is indeed the second time that Donald Trump has done this. However, this time round, it should only take 1 year to take effect, which means we're going to see the results of this far quicker than the first time round. And it puts the US, or it will put the US in a group of countries that includes Iran, Libya and Yemen, countries outside the Paris deal. Now, it is a very big move. it removes effectively the world's biggest historic emitter from the deal. If you just look at these figures, you can see that. They show these figures, the cumulative CO2 emissions since 1750. The US far on top, China catching up. So this is why many people are so shocked that the US has taken the decision to remove itself from the Paris climate deal. China is, in terms of annual emissions, the world's biggest emitter. The US is in second place. Now, remember that this is a deal in which governments agreed to limit global warming to a rise of 1.5 degrees Celsius. Now, evidence shows that we may already be fast approaching that point. And the latest UN report says that we're on track to hit a rise of 3 degrees Celsius. So very bad news indeed for proponents of multilateralism.
Musk maintained a working relationship with Trump even though he disagreed with him on climate action and immigration. Early 2020, during a meeting at the Oval Office, Musk allegedly called Trump a moron behind his back while discussing a potential Tesla gigafactory in Mexico. Trump reportedly discussed confusion about Tesla's supercharging network, evidencing a divide in an understanding of the fine details. Musk criticized Trump's pandemic response, calling the lockdowns fascist and clashing with Dr. Anthony Fauci, whom Trump also feuded with. Particularly, Musk clashed with California public health officials over Tesla factory shutdowns, with Trump supporting Musk tweeting, "California should let Tesla and Musk open the plant now. It can be done fast and safely, showing signs of realignment again."
Our approach outlines 3 phases in restoring our economic life. We are not opening all at once, but one careful step at a time. And some states will be able to open up sooner than others. Some states are not in the kind of trouble that others are in.
States should only start the reopening phases when they've seen a 14-day decline in cases and hospitals are no longer in crisis mode. Reopening won't happen with the bang that Trump has been talking about. Despite his previous claims of absolute power, the president has now conceded that it is up to individual governors to call the shots on how their states move forward.
The experts will tell us the best course of conduct based on that data. No political decisions, no emotional decisions, data and science. We're talking about human lives here.
Business leaders and medical experts are urging caution. They say without mass testing, asymptomatic people could return to work and spread the virus. But the president is impatient, watching his economy fade, taking with it his strongest platform for re-election in November. He can only watch as the job crisis worsens. 22 million Americans have filed for unemployment in the last 4 weeks. Donald Trump desperately wants his economy to start thriving again. That may simply be impossible while America is still in the grip of this deadly virus.
I feel like our jobs are all essential in the state of Minnesota, and I don't feel like any governor, even Governor Walz or anybody else, can't determine who or when we decide we want to go to work or where we work or anything like that. That's why I'm out here.
Tesla CEO Elon Musk has confirmed the company has reopened its Bay Area factory in violation of local government orders. Now, that plant in Fremont was shut down in March to stop the spread of COVID-19. Alameda County has deemed it a non-essential business that is not yet allowed to open under its restrictions. Musk tweeted today that he would be on the assembly line and asked that only he be arrested if authorities move to take anyone into custody. Now, the move comes after Tesla sued Alameda County over its health order, and Musk threatened to move the company out of the state.
At Tesla's plant in Fremont, the parking lot, almost empty for weeks, is now filling up again. Inside, new protocols, plexiglass shields, masks, temperature checks. Still, according to local officials, not safe enough. Not yet. County officials thought they were close to a deal that would see Tesla open next week, but today the plant is already running despite the county's orders.
It's a bit disappointing that it appears that they're going forward. I can tell you that the communication between the health department and the public health officer who makes these decisions are ongoing still.
Since the beginning of the COVID crisis, Tesla founder Elon Musk has railed against business closures, calling them fascist and unconstitutional. California is now allowing some manufacturing to start up again, but here in Alameda County, it's still against the rules. Over the weekend, Tesla sued the county in federal court, arguing the more lenient state rules should supersede the county's. Musk even threatened he'd move the company to another state. Some residents say officials should bend the rules if it means saving 10,000 manufacturing jobs.
I think they should open. I mean, it's a big company. Everybody relies on that.
But some local business owners say Musk thinks his company is above the law.
If everyone close, yeah, for safety, it's okay, fair. But if some open, some close, I don't think that's fair.
Alameda County's health department had said the electric car maker must not reopen its Fremont factory until the end of May, with only essential businesses allowed to reopen. Musk on Thursday told employees that limited production would restart at Fremont Friday afternoon as state orders eased. Musk in another tweet said Tesla would file a lawsuit against Alameda County immediately and said, quote, "The unelected and ignorant interim health officer of Alameda is acting contrary to the governor, the president, our constitutional freedoms, and just plain common sense." In March, Musk sparred with California officials over whether his company had to halt production in Fremont, home to Tesla's only U.S. vehicle factory. A county official on Friday said that its health department has had many discussions with Tesla and recommended it wait at least another week to monitor infection rates and discuss safe ways to resume production.
Factories are really struggling, whether it be Tyson, where there's just a horrible article about what it was like initially there, initially being not that long ago. Whether it be Elon Musk, his rant this weekend, let us go to work. We are not, well, this is the first time I can say this, but unfortunately, we're not a manufacturing country, but maybe it's fortunate right now because they're the ones that can at least put out product. The product is going to be curtailed. I know that we had no autos to speak of sold last month.
I agree with Elon Musk. He's one of the biggest employers and manufacturers in California, and California should prioritize doing whatever they need to do to solve those health issues so that he can open quickly and safely, where they're going to find, as he's threatened, he's moving his production to a different state.
Elon Musk just teased the release of new Fauci files this week, tweeting, "Hope you're having a great day one 2023. One thing's for sure, it won't be boring." Are you expecting a smoking gun with regard to Anthony Fauci in the Fauci files?
I'm expecting to see more involvement from the government in censoring speech, and this is very concerning. This is something that we've been talking about for the past several weeks on your show. The government should never play any role in censoring speech. We're concerned that the government has spent a significant amount of money of taxpayer dollars creating a task force of at least 80 full-time employees to do nothing but censor social media posts and censor conservative speech. History will show that Dr. Fauci made a lot of mistakes. And history is also going to show, and I think Elon Musk is going to have a big role in that the government played a large role in trying to combat anyone who was a critic of Dr. Fauci, anyone who questioned Dr. Fauci's science, in ensuring that their voices weren't heard. We're paying the price every day for the mistakes that Dr. Fauci made during COVID. And I think what Elon Musk has the opportunity to do is show exactly how big a role the government played in getting Dr. Fauci's back on every controversial statement he made that affected our lives in a negative way over the past 3 years.
In 2022, the Trump-Musk feud reignited again after Trump claimed that Musk had told him that he voted for him in 2016 and called him a bullshit artist for denying it.
And go out, by the way, while I'm here and sign up now for Truth Social. It's hot as a pistol, and you see that. I call that one right. Leon's, I tell you what, Elon is not going to buy Twitter. Where did you hear that before? From me. From a fake account. She says fake. A lot of them. Nah, he's got himself a mess. He said the other day, I've never voted for a Republican. I said, I didn't know that. He told me he voted for me. So he's another bullshit artist, but he's not going to be buying it. He's not going to be buying it. Although he might later. Who the hell knows what's going to happen? He's got a pretty rotten contract. I looked at his contract. Not a good contract. But he's not. Sign up for Truth. We love the truth. And it's doing good.
Musk responded back then by suggesting that Trump should retire from politics, tweeting, "I don't hate the man, but it's time for Trump to hang up his hat and sail into the sunset." This feud highlighted a clash of personalities and mutual accusations of dishonesty. At some point, Trump repeatedly mocked electric vehicles, including Tesla, and favored traditional automakers, labeling electric vehicles bad for jobs.
You do a damn good job at farming, but I will tell you, they want to take your car industry away. They're going to take it away. They're going to do the electric vehicle nonsense. You drive... You put a little circle around your house. You can't go outside the circle. You'll never come back. You can drive it. The first 10 minutes is one of the greatest feelings on earth. The next hour, you're in trauma, thinking about where the hell are you going to have the car charged. Oh, you had that. Yeah, you had that. Now, we want to have choice in schools, and we want to have choice in cars, right? You want gasoline if you want... Of anything. They want to make your trucks and your tractors electric too. Anybody have a nice, big, beautiful John Deere? Raise your hand. Yes? How would you like to have a big battery attached to the top of it? Bigger than the tractor itself. That's part of the problem. It's got a lot of problems. They want that to be. They want our army tanks to be all electric. So that when we go into enemy territory, blasting the hell out of everybody, we do it in an environmentally friendly way. Okay? That's what they're doing. These people are crazy. They're crazy. And they want your trucks. I'm meeting with the trucking industry next week. They want your big trucks. They take these loads so big. And, you have... Peter built some great firms. They make these incredible trucks, these cabs, and they can go for 2,000 miles. With an electric, you can go for 300 miles, and the battery's so big you'll have no room to store anything else. Other than that, it's wonderful. And it doesn't have actually the pull weight, supposedly. But think of that. How crazy is it, right? And so the trucking industry is They don't know what to do because there's nobody that they don't even listen to them. 2,000 miles versus 300 miles. You don't have to say anything else. But also the batteries are massive. You know, I was in South Carolina the other day, the boating industry, and I was with some incredible companies that make boats. And one of them, they said, you know, there's a problem. They don't want us to go faster than 2 miles an hour now. Because, listen to this, they don't want to hurt the whales. There's only been one whale affected in the last 50 years, and yet they'll build windmills all over the ocean, and the whales are washing up at short levels never seen before. But they want a battery boat, a fully electric boat. And, you know, you have those beautiful Mercury engines and the other ones, the outboards and the inboards, and they're great. The little tiny smell of a little gasoline is okay, right? It's, you know, something. Because we have more of it than anybody else by far. But they want the boats. I said to the guy, well, how do you think it'll work? He said, well, it's a problem because the battery's so big we won't have any room for anybody. We'll be sitting on top of a battery, and we're not sure that we can make the boat float. It's so heavy. And I asked him, and I told this just to one of the group, I said, so let's say the boat starts to sink and you're sitting on top of this massive battery and you get electrocuted. Do you get electrocuted? I mean, I don't want to be near that battery in the water. The problem is there may be a shark about 10 yards away. And you know what I said? I'll take the battery every single time.
Trump did buy a Tesla just recently as a show of support following backlash against Musk for his government involvement, especially the work with the Department of Government Efficiency, which saw his companies attacked in every which way.
People are showing up to Tesla dealerships to publicly protest Elon Musk and his role in the newly formed Department of Government Efficiency. CBS Philadelphia's Eva Anderson shares how local drivers are growing increasingly concerned.
I just bought this car yesterday.
Though he's aware the maker of his beloved new ride is at the center of controversy.
What I am most worried about is what I've seen on the news.
Malillo's talking about reports of vandalism against Tesla vehicles.
I don't care where you fall politically. Don't touch my car.
Hey! Ho-ho! Trump and Musk have got to go!
This comes amid nationwide protests against Musk and his role in the Trump administration's Department of Government Efficiency. Like this one in Cherry Hill. Lily Wright, who isn't a fan of Musk or her Tesla, is concerned that people may take out their political frustrations on her car.
I don't necessarily blame them, but leave my car alone, okay?
Jennifer Kitchen is happy she's no longer one of those people. She got rid of her Tesla. Similar to singer Sheryl Crow, who proudly posted a video of her Tesla being towed away, Kitchen says she can't stand Musk and didn't want to drive around what has, to some, become a symbol of Doge and the Trump administration.
Federal agents are now part of an investigation after vandals damaged cars at a Tesla dealership. Police tell us some of the cars had offensive and hateful comments painted on them. Loveland police tell us this is the third time in the last 10 days that this dealership has had similar problems. It's not clear if the suspect or suspects are the same in each case. We have not heard of any arrests.
These Tesla drivers are still happy with their choice.
I love this car. It was like 4 years I was waiting for this one.
They say they're saving money, not paying for gas, and feel it's a better choice for the environment.
I think if it gets a little worse, then I'll start to kind of, go around in my head thinking, maybe.
It's not a matter of maybe for many. The sale of a used Tesla at this BC dealership sparked several comments on social media.
People were suggesting that it was a symbolism of Nazi, of what's happening in the United States.
Canadians understand that we're in an existential trade war with the United States.
Drivers are sporting bumper stickers that read, "I bought this before Elon went crazy." Some competitors like Kia are capitalizing. Their sticker says, "I bought this after Elon went crazy." Protests have erupted across the U.S., with Tesla stocks taking a hit. Musk spoke on Fox News Monday.
How are you running your other businesses?
With great difficulty. I'm just here trying to make government more efficient.
Trump defended Musk in a post on his Truth Social platform, saying he's putting it on the line to help the country. The president even promising to buy a Tesla. It seems musician Sheryl Crow won't miss hers, waving goodbye to her Tesla.
Early Tuesday morning, President Trump posted to Truth Social vowing to purchase his own Tesla to support Musk. And by the afternoon, with Musk by his side, picked one out on the White House driveway.
We do believe that the president is set to buy a Tesla from Elon Musk. Let's take a look.
President Trump, are you looking to buy or lease today?
Well, I'm going to buy. And I'm going to buy because, number one, it's a great product, as good as it gets. And number two, because this man has devoted his energy and his life to doing this. And I think he's been treated very unfairly by a very small group of people. And I just want people to know that you can't be penalized for being a patriot. And he's a great patriot. And he's also done an incredible job with Tesla. And I mean, nobody else has a car company started up in the last 30 years that's been successful. I don't think so. And not only successful, but super successful. And because he's able to find billions and billions and billions of dollars of fraud and waste and all of the things, I mean, our country is going to be very strong very soon because of a lot of the things that he's done and a lot of the things that I'm doing. And there's no better team, but there's no better for what we're doing. There's nobody like this, and he shouldn't be penalized. And when I watched the other day, I said, I can't believe it. It should be the opposite. People should be going wild, and they love the product, but because he's finding all sorts of terrible things that have taken place against our country, they want to penalize him in an economic sense. And I just think that's very unfair. So I just wanted to make a statement. I'm going to buy one. Now, here's the bad news. I'm not allowed to drive because I haven't driven a car in a long time, and I love to drive cars. But I'm going to have it at the White House, and I'm going to let my staff use it. I'm going to let people at the place use it, and they all are all excited about that. I'm not allowed to use it. Can you believe it? One of my great things in life is that I can, I like to drive cars, but I'm not allowed to. And I will say this one, the Cybertruck, I bought for a very special young woman. Do you know? I'm sure you've never heard of her, Kai. And she's a great golfer, and she puts the clubs in the back, and I guess it's a very safe deal. She loves it. And I actually bought one about a year ago, and she loves it. And it's very safe, it's very strong, heavy. It's all steel, stainless steel. But the cars themselves, so what is this one, Elon?
That's the Model Y.
That's a Model Y, so I have a lot of information, including the price.
Yeah.
I want to make a good deal here. I do notice this. They have one, which is $35,000, which is pretty low. What is that all about?
Yeah, it's, I guess we want to make the point that Teslas aren't all expensive. You can get a Tesla for as little as $35,000.
Yeah.
And I just want to thank the president for his support. This means a lot. And also thank everyone out there who is supporting Tesla. It's really terrible that there's so much violence being perpetrated against people like Tesla, Tesla supporters, Tesla owners, Tesla stores. These are innocent people who've done nothing wrong.
But nobody's been, there's been some physical damage, a little damage, and we want to keep it that way because I don't want to say this, it's just not the appropriate, but law enforcement's out there watching everybody. We don't want this to happen. And not to somebody that's been so good to our country. He didn't have to do this. He didn't have to go through this. And we can't let it happen. And aside from that, I happen to love the product. It's a lot nicer if you also happen to love the product. And he's done a really good job. Go ahead, Peter.
Is there, I guess this is for Elon Musk, is there a discount? President Trump wrote the art of the deal. Is there any kind of room for negotiating here?
Let me answer that. I know he'd give me a discount, but honestly, I don't want to ask for one. I'm president, so I want to pay full price.
And what is your message, President Trump? Buying a new car while there are some folks who will see this clip at home and they are struggling with their retirement accounts down at the moment. Uncertainty about work ahead.
Well, I think they're going to do great. I think our country had to do this. We had to go and do this. They've taken away, other countries have taken away our business. They've taken away our jobs. I did it initially very strongly against, as you know, China and some others in the first term. And it was a very successful term. We had no inflation. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. And then we had COVID, which we had to straighten out, so I didn't want to be doing anything with respect to other countries at that time. And we did a great job with it. We handed the stock market over. It was higher than it ever was. And think of that, higher than it ever was to that point before. And nobody thought that was even possible. We did a great job. But we had the greatest economy in history. This economy, in my opinion, is going to blow it away. But what I have to do is I have to get the workers back. I have to get the factories open. We have 90,000 factories and plants are closed from what you had just prior to NAFTA, which is not very long ago. 90,000, think of it, 90,000 factories and plants are closed from what it was, and it's just not right. So, and we gave it away. Presidents before me gave it away, and I could name every one of them, but they gave it away, and we're taking it back. We're taking our jobs back. And one of the things I'll say, by the way, speaking of Tesla, he manufactures more cars. I mean, he opened this incredible plant, one of the largest plants in the world, in Texas. Could you talk about that, Elon?
Yeah, it's worth noting that the Tesla cars have the most U.S. content of any cars on the market, so they're the most American made. We have the biggest factory and the most advanced automotive factory in Texas that we've opened and continue to expand. And so this is very much these are great products. A Model S is one best car ever. So they've all these cars have won incredible awards. So they're great cars and they're American made. And I think, try it. You'll like it.
And I'm just saying, beyond the cars, they're great. But we have to celebrate somebody that has the courage to do this. He could have said, I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to get involved. Let the country go to hell. He didn't want to do that. And remember, he's going to find, and we're up to almost $500 billion worth of waste and fraud and abuse. $500 billion. We give him $2 billion here, $2 billion there, not millions. It was a bet. If it was $1 million or $2 million, that's a lot of money. But we're talking about billions of dollars being given to defunct, scams, given to people with nothing. They have nothing going. They open up a subchapter S corporation, and they put $2 billion into it from nowhere. And we've caught a lot of them. I wish we could catch all of them, but we've caught a lot of them. And he's been largely responsible. So we have to celebrate him. And it's not that he's conservative. I don't even know if he's conservative. I will tell you this.
These days
I've been doing this I've known him for a pretty long time. He endorsed me. I didn't know him that well when he endorsed me. But in the time I've known him, he has never asked me for a favor. He didn't ask me for this. I said, Elon, I don't like what's happening to you. And Tesla's a great company. I don't like what's happening. It's, from our standpoint, American cars, American made. He employs thousands of people. He's got, at the same time, he has the most modern plants in the world. I said, I don't like what's happened to you. I'm going to do it. I didn't even know he was going to come. He's never asked me for anything. He endorsed me, and he never asked me. I didn't even know he was going to endorse me. The guy has never asked me. He's not saying, in fact, I could go a step further. I ended the electric mandate. Okay, I ended the electric mandate, and I figured, when's this guy calling to raise hell with me? And he never called. I mean, he never called me. If I were him, I would have called.
So on that,
because he's probably even better than I am.
Mr. President, is Elon Musk rubbing off on you? Is electric then the way to go?
It's not that this isn't for electric or gas, because people have their choices.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I know people that have these cars. I know one man, we see him all the time.
Yeah.
He has 5 of them.
Yeah.
He thinks it's and he was a big guy for Ferraris and other things. And he says, man, it blows him away. I know other people, they have 3, 4, they love them. They love them. And some people like the gas, and they should have their options.
Right.
I'm all about options. But I'm telling you, I ended the electric mandate, and I was waiting for a call. I said, did Elon call yet? They said, no, sir. The next day, what about Elon? Did he call? He never even mentioned it to me, never complained. Until this moment, I'm just bringing it up. Who would do that?
Yeah.
He has never asked me for a thing. and he's built this great company, and he shouldn't be penalized because he's a patriot. He's an incredible patriot, and I don't even know if he's a Republican. I really don't.
Yes, yes, definitely.
The stock market dropped today.
Well, I'm not sure if it was. Well, you're going to have
stock is also
drops, and markets are going to go up and they're going to go down.
Yeah.
But you know what? We have to rebuild our country. Our country has been stripped of its jobs, of its factories. And I'm tired of seeing where they build apartments, cheap apartments in an old broken down. Tired of seeing where they build apartments, cheap apartments in an old broken down factory. But you have factories all over the place that are empty from many decades ago. And we're going to change it around. And it's all taxing policy. You know, it's really a policy because we have great workers, great people. It's really a policy of taxing and incentives. And I'm bringing the incentives back.
It isn't your average car showroom.
Should I get in?
Get in!
But Donald Trump isn't your average customer. He had his choice of models
That's beautiful.
when Tesla rolled onto the world's most famous driveway.
Everything's computer.
I mean, how many people here have lost their jobs because of Elon Musk?
We asked federal workers sacked by Elon Musk what they thought of the president's purchase.
I become unaccountably angry every time a Tesla drives by now.
How do you express that anger?
Internally.
The president is asking people to buy Tesla cars right now. What's your response to that?
Absolutely not. I will never buy a Tesla car.
The Tesla brand is bearing the brunt of protest over Musk's influence. Violent attacks on vehicles, forecourts and charging stations. Trump says he'll label it domestic terrorism.
When you heard an American company, especially a company like this, supplies so many jobs that others are unable to do, when you do that, those people are going to go through a big problem when we catch them. And we have you got a lot of cameras up. We already know who some of them are. We're going to catch them.
Tesla stock has lost half its value in 3 months. Its share price tanked to an all-time low this week. The White House attempting to shore it up with a seal of approval.
In 2022, Trump mocked Musk's attempt to back out of buying Twitter, saying, "Elon's going to buy Twitter? He's not going to buy Twitter."
And go out, by the way, while I'm here and sign up now for Truth Social. It's hot as a pistol, and you see that. I call that one right. Leon's, I tell you what, Elon is not going to buy Twitter. Where did you hear that before? From me.
After Musk acquired Twitter, now X, Trump said Musk was full of crap for claiming he voted Republican, which Musk later confirmed he did. Trump called Musk's Twitter purchase a rotten deal and said Musk lies a lot and that he should focus on getting himself out of the Twitter mess. He also claimed Musk came to him begging for electric vehicle subsidies, which Musk denied. Interestingly, Musk reinstated Trump's Twitter account after he bought the company after following his ban for the alleged involved in the January 6th insurgency at the Capitol Hill. Musk called the ban a morally bad decision and foolish to the extreme, signaling an alignment with Trump.
All right, well, Elon Musk caused a pretty big ruckus today, and yes, it did happen on Twitter. While many of us were sleeping, Musk tweeted, quote, "Twitter deal temporarily on hold, pending details supporting calculation that spam/fake accounts do indeed represent less than 5% of users." That was the tweet. Well, Musk's tweet caused Twitter stock to drop 10% almost immediately, and then, as if he hadn't said it, 2 hours later, he tweeted again saying, "Still committed to the acquisition." Everybody's buzzing. Perhaps he realized just how much he devalued the company that he's trying to buy. Elon Musk, who is known as the brains behind the electric car company, now the new king of Twitter, some say, replacing former President Trump. Everybody was hanging on to his tweet, as they are now with Elon Musk's tweet. He tweeted 4 days ago, "Chocolate milk is insanely good. Just had some." We're reading into everything now.
Elon Musk has revealed that if he succeeds in buying Twitter, he will reverse the social media giant's decision to ban Donald Trump and reinstate the former president's account. The prospective buyer, who is the world's richest person, warned he believes permanent bans should be extremely rare as he attempts to push through his £35 billion deal.
Are you planning to let Donald Trump back on?
Well, I think there's a general question of should Twitter have permanent bans? And I've talked with Jack Dorsey about this, and he and I are of the same mind, which is that permanent bans should be extremely rare and really reserved for people where they're trying to for accounts that are bots or spam scam accounts, where there's just no legitimacy to the account at all. I do think that it was not correct to ban Donald Trump. I think that was a mistake because it alienated a large part of the country and did not ultimately result in Donald Trump not having a voice. He is now going to be on Truth Social, as will a large part of the right in the United States. I think it was a morally bad decision, to be clear, and foolish in the extreme. He has publicly stated that he will not be coming back to Twitter, and that he will only be on Truth Social. And this is the point that I'm trying to make, which is perhaps not getting across, is that banning Trump from Twitter didn't end Trump's voice. It will amplify it among the right. And this is why it is morally wrong and flat out stupid.
Well, it's now official. Elon Musk is buying Twitter for $44 billion. And he says that changes are coming, specifically around censorship. And that brings us to this Facebook post insinuating that former President Donald Trump is now back on Twitter as a result. So let's verify. Is that real? Well, the tweet may look like it came from his old Twitter handle at @RealDonaldTrump, but we checked it out and that account is still suspended. So we can verify this is false. Musk has yet to take over control, so if he did want to unsuspend 45, it wouldn't have happened just yet.
Former President Trump is cleared to return to Twitter for the first time in nearly 2 years. Elon Musk, the social media site's owner, reinstated his account and reversed a ban that was put in place in the aftermath of the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. Musk says he reversed the ban after holding a poll that he says showed 51.8% of Twitter users say Trump's account should be reinstated. Whether he returns to Twitter, though, remains to be seen. Today, the 2024 presidential candidate said he does not see any need to come back.
Former President Donald Trump back on Twitter tonight. Twitter's new CEO, Elon Musk, reinstated the account after polling users on the platform. Musk had previously vowed not to make any major decisions about reinstatements until forming a content moderation council. Instead, he laid off nearly half of his workforce, and just yesterday, we saw another mass exodus of employees. You may recall Trump was banned from Twitter and other social media platforms after a group of his supporters led a deadly attack on the U.S. Capitol while Congress was inside certifying the 2020 election results. Trump tweeted several unfounded conspiracies about the election on January 6th, leading up to that riot.
It was after a violent mob of Trump supporters stormed this building to try to disrupt the peaceful transfer of power on January 6th that Twitter and other social media platforms banned the former president, citing the risk of further violence. Now the former president's Twitter account is back thanks to Twitter's new boss, Elon Musk. This is Musk's latest controversial move at the helm of Twitter, and it marks a sharp reversal from his pledge that a content moderation council would make decisions on reinstating accounts. Now, Trump has yet to tweet. His feed is populated with old posts, many of them repeating lies about the 2020 election. The former president, who of course just announced that he's running again in 2024, previously said that he would not return to Twitter, preferring to stay on his own platform, Truth Social, instead. Overnight, Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney said that now that Trump's account is back, it's a good time for Americans to re-watch the January 6th hearings, which feature some of the president's now deleted tweets during the violence that day.
Musk's politics have increasingly shifted to the right.
You must vote for change, and that is why I'm really strongly recommending that people vote for AfD.
He's made statements in support of Germany's far-right AfD party and British anti-immigration party Reform UK. The world's richest man is one of Trump's closest allies. He's co-leading what's called the Department of Government Efficiency, and it's reported he already has office space in the White House.
Musk increasingly embraced conservative talking points and widely criticized woke culture, signaling a shift in his stance further right. He became a vocal and financial supporter of the Trump campaign in 2024, endorsing him minutes after the failed July 2024 attempt at his life.
So many different great things. Where is he? Come on up here, Elon. He created the first major American car company in generations, and his rocket company is the only reason we can now send American astronauts into space. Come here. Take over, Elon. Yes, take over.
Hi, everyone. As you can see, I'm not just MAGA, I'm dark MAGA.
Subsequently, Musk pledged over $250 million to the Trump campaign, making him the largest individual donor in the election. He went full in when it came to campaigning for Trump, from joining him in rallies all over America to using X to amplify Trump's message and promote conspiracy theories about Democrats, election fraud, and immigration.
The world's richest man, Elon Musk, has spent over $250 million to help President-elect Trump secure the presidency. This is according to federal findings. That makes him the biggest individual donor of the 2024 campaign.
And Musk's boldest move, the billionaire poured $20 million into a super PAC named after the late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The organization sought to help Trump's image by softening his pro-life position. Musk also spent several million to cut checks to voters in swing states who signed a petition supporting the Constitution.
The total spending that Musk has poured into helping Trump is currently unknown, but the staggering amounts that have been reported already have some in the political world wondering if Musk is trying to buy access to the president-elect.
Well, one Bloomberg business journalist pointing out on X, quote, Musk had only been a modest political donor until this year, but the giving has lofted him into Trump's inner orbit. He has seen his wealth surge since Trump won the election last month. Now, Trump in the past has made supportive comments about Musk, but cracks too about his permanent presence, one time saying, quote, Elon, what a job he does. He's great, he happens to be a really good guy. You know, he likes this place, I can't get him out of here.
Billionaire Elon Musk gave $193 million to his pro-Trump super PAC through Election Day, federal filings released Thursday show, and pumped an additional $20 million into a separate Trump-aligned PAC, solidifying his place as one of President-elect Donald Trump's biggest billionaire supporters. That's on top of $118.6 million Musk had already reported giving to the PAC prior to October 17th, adding up to $239 million in total, and potentially making Musk Trump's biggest financial backer, though it's still unclear how Musk's donations stack up against Trump's previous biggest donor, Timothy Mellon, who had given $150 million to pro-Trump super PACs through October 16th. FEC filings show Musk also funded a super PAC that came under controversy for using late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg to endorse Trump on abortion, which Ginsburg's family disavowed, with Musk giving $20.5 million to the PAC and serving as its sole donor. Musk donated to America PAC in the weeks before the election as his PAC was garnering headlines for its controversial $1 million daily giveaways to registered voters in swing states, which gave out $18 million in total by Election Day. And the PAC also awarded $47 checks to people who recruited others to sign the petition, saying October 30th it had sent out more than 87,000 checks. America PAC's activities are expected to continue even now that the election is over, with Musk saying on November 12th the PAC will keep grinding to register voters in key districts ahead of the midterm elections, promising it will also play a significant role in primaries. While America PAC was the main focus of Musk's political giving this election cycle, FEC filings show he also made a number of other major donations, including to the National Republican Congressional Committee and state Republican parties in Utah, Alabama, and California. He also gave money to GOP Representative Ken Calvert's re-election campaign and Kobe Jenkins' unsuccessful House race in Utah, and gave $1 million in August to Early Vote Action PAC.
Right. It seems to suggest, right, that Musk is leaning into his ability to influence and purchase election results here, which, by the way, he has a mixed record on. Now, you are right. He spent north of $290 million in 2024 in support of Trump, the single largest individual contributor on the Republican side of politics. But just more recently, Jake, he spent $23 million to try and win a Supreme Court race in Wisconsin and failed pretty miserably at that. So I guess, yes, it says something about money in politics.
Obviously, Elon Musk has a very loud voice. He owns his own social media platform, X, so he can make his views and his criticism very much heard. But also, he has that enormous checkbook, albeit he's lost a lot of money today. He still has a lot that he could spend. He had promised $100 million to be spent on political groups that are controlled by Donald Trump. Will that money now turn up? That seems quite unlikely. He might be more likely to target that at representatives and senators who, say, for instance, vote for this great big spending bill. He could then use his cash to target them, to try and get them replaced by other candidates. That's something that representatives do genuinely worry about. And Elon Musk has a big enough checkbook to make that a real threat. So he can use his money to continue to try to influence policy. And then today on social media, among all the other things he's been saying, he's even suggested that he might start his own political party, which he could afford to finance. So far, he's had almost 2 million responses to that, with over 80% of them encouraging him to set up his own party.
Also during today's interview, President Trump gives a warning to tech mogul Elon Musk after a very public rift over the GOP's budget bill. In the interview, Trump said there will be, quote, very serious consequences if Musk funds Democratic candidates to run against Republicans who vote in favor of the bill. Trump, however, did not elaborate on what those consequences would be. The president also says he has no desire to repair his relationship with Musk, accusing the billionaire of being, quote, disrespectful to the office of the president.
It sounds like President Trump is not ready to make peace with Elon Musk after their falling out. When asked if he thought his relationship with Musk is over, the president responded, quote, I would assume so, yeah. He also warned that Musk could face consequences if he tries to help Democrats in upcoming elections. President Trump made those comments yesterday during an interview with NBC News.
The battle between President Donald Trump and billionaire Elon Musk continues tonight. The president said he has no desire to repair the relationship and warned that Musk could face, quote, serious consequences if he tries to back Democratic candidates. The feud between the men began this week when Musk criticized President Trump's so-called Big Beautiful Bill.
Following Trump's victory in November 2024, Musk was appointed co-lead at the Department of Government Efficiency, a temporary advisory body set up to promote cuts in government spending, a position that drew a lot of criticism against Musk.
Since Trump's victory, Musk has become a frequent guest at Mar-a-Lago and is set to lead DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, to eliminate government waste.
We're going to also slash something else, the waste in our bloated federal bureaucracy. We will create the new Department of Government Efficiency, headed by a gentleman named Elon Musk, who's here someplace. I don't know where the hell he is. He's here someplace. Come here, Elon. Did you see his rocket yesterday? It was captured. And X is with him. X. Come on, Elon. Say a couple of words.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. Sorry, little X just followed me on the stage here. He's a very enthusiastic supporter, as you can see. So we're looking forward to making a lot of changes, and you know this victory is the start, really. What matters going forward is to actually make significant changes, cement those changes, and set the foundation for America to be strong for a century, for centuries, forever. So, and make America great again. Yeah. So, yeah. So anyway, we're gonna do great things here. Thank you.
You know, I always say we have to be protective of our geniuses because we don't have too many, but that one is a good one. Now, I watched his rocket come down about 3 months ago, and I thought it was crashing. I was talking to somebody on the phone. By the way, same thing happened yesterday. It came down, and it was captured so beautifully. It came down, it's tumbling, it's a mess, it's going down. I say, oh, look at that thing, that's a disaster. And then it gets like a couple of miles away from Earth, and all of a sudden the engines start going on, the things start, and then I see it coming in and landing in the gantry, and I'm watching it and I'm saying, oh, it's going to crash. Oh, but those engines came out and they blew the fire all over the place. And all of a sudden those two big arms came and hugged it like you would hug your little baby. And that sucker landed it. Nobody's been able to do that but him. And he's a great guy. And we have him and Vivek and some great people working on a thing called costs. And he's got the credibility to do it, too. And we're going to do things that are really amazing. But he went out to Pennsylvania after that. He landed that rocket nobody had ever seen. By the way, China can't do it. Russia can't do it or come close. It will be 10 years before they can do it. And the U.S. can't do it except for him. And it's pretty amazing. But he did that. And then he journeyed to Pennsylvania, where he spent like a month and a half campaigning for me in Pennsylvania. And he's a popular guy, and he was very effective. And he knows those computers better than anybody, all those computers, those vote-counting computers. And we ended up winning Pennsylvania like in a landslide, so it was pretty good.
In the beginning, Donald Trump and Elon Musk got along great.
Take over, Elon, yes, take over.
Musk spent $288 million to elect Trump and his allies.
And they've also got to address the deficit. So
Trump invited Musk into the Oval Office and cabinet meetings. Musk called himself first buddy.
You got to give him credit.
Trump welcomed Musk's idea to create a Department of Government Efficiency.
This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy.
In 4 months, Doge took the chainsaw to every federal department. 250,000 workers were fired or bought out. Musk even slashed grants and staffing at environmental agencies like the EPA and NOAA after decades of warning about the risks of climate change. But Musk did not enjoy the pushback.
We received several 911 calls about a fire.
There were acts of violence, death threats, lawsuits, mandatory rehirings, shouting matches with cabinet members. Tesla profits plummeted by 71%.
Number one, it's a great product.
And Musk's net worth dropped by $100 billion.
No, that's beautiful.
Last month, Musk finally left Washington, but still intended to work on Doge a day or two a week.
You've spoken about how much of a grind and a stress it was on you. And, Tesla's reputation took a hit, your reputation took a hit. People are very upset about Social Security and national parks and air traffic and food safety and cancer research, Alzheimer's research. Now that you've had a chance to look at it, might there have been a different approach?
Yeah, I think what was starting to happen was that it's a bit unfair because Doge became the whooping boy for everything. So if there was some cut, real or imagined, everyone would blame Doge. I've had people think that somehow Doge is going to stop them from getting their Social Security check, which is completely untrue.
Well, I guess I was just thinking about the, move fast and break things, before you really understand what the agency does.
Yeah, I guess part of it is depends on where you're coming from. So, I'm like a proponent of smaller government, not bigger government. So now if somebody's a proponent of, more government programs and bigger government, and they see, hey, Doge is cutting all these government programs, then they'll be fundamentally opposed to that because they just think the government should do more things. That's
Now, that's just a fundamental, I guess, ideological opinion. But my frank opinion of the government is that, like, the government is just like the DMV that got big. Okay, so when you say, like, let's have the government do something, you should think, do you want the DMV to do it?
Trump repeatedly praised Musk, calling him a star, posing with him in high-profile meetings, which included a Tesla showcase at the White House lawn, a sign of support for Musk following backlash for his government dealings, including Teslas and Tesla dealerships being vandalized. Peak Musk influence saw him being labeled as the shadow or co-president due to his unprecedented access and authority. In January, Musk sparked controversy with this alleged Nazi gesture during Trump's inauguration, which he quickly dismissed as dirty tricks.
And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
There was immediate backlash on social media. Some historians compared it to a Nazi salute. Musk posted on X, frankly, they need better dirty tricks. The everyone is Hitler attack is so tired.
The fact that this on his part was labeled as a Nazi gesture and not on the part of anyone else with anything similar really raised questions on the objectivity of legacy media. In May, Musk started distancing himself from the Department of Government Efficiency, citing the need to focus on his businesses that took a hit following his government involvement.
After 4 months of being the face of slashing government spending, Elon Musk is trusting the Trump administration to carry on the Doge mission without him.
This is not the end of Doge, but really the beginning.
While Musk is leaving, having fallen short of his ambitious $2 trillion goal, he says Doge did cut
Over 160 billion, and that's climbing. We expect that number will probably go over 200 billion soon.
and we likely haven't seen the last of him.
And Elon's really not leaving. He's going to be back and forth, I think. I have a feeling. It's his baby. Americans owe him a great debt of gratitude.
And I'll continue to be visiting here and be a friend and advisor to the president.
With mass layoffs and aggressive cuts to government agencies, Musk quickly became public enemy #1. And his businesses like Tesla suffered for it.
We became like essentially the Doge boogeyman, where if any cut anywhere would be ascribed to Doge.
It's good that he's gone. It was a short period of time, but a guy like him could do a lot of damage in a short period of time.
And Musk found fixing Washington's spending problem wasn't as easy as he thought it might be. He's not happy with Trump's big, beautiful bill the House recently passed, which could add trillions to the national debt over the next decade.
Reports emerged that Trump was growing frustrated with Musk, most notable being his omnipresence, especially following his clash with MAGA supporters on immigration policies. Then came the public spat that is the main objective of this video, which has seen bitter exchanges, including claims by Musk that Trump wouldn't have won the elections without him, posting endorsements calling for Trump's impeachment, and Musk officially stepping away from the Department of Government Efficiency. Trump and Musk have always clashed on ideological differences, business interests, and egos. Musk first criticized Trump on climate policy. Then his support for Trump came with embracing right-leaning ideals following frustration from government regulations. The 2025 fallout is largely based on business concerns, including the threats of canceling government contracts. Both men have larger-than-life personalities, coupled with competing desires for credit and control.
Today it's about a man named Elon.
Still, on Friday, they held a media event at the White House to confirm their mutual admiration and to leave the door open for future collaboration.
And Elon's really not leaving. He's going to be back and forth, I think. I have a feeling.
The Doge team is doing an incredible job. They're going to continue doing an incredible job, and I'll continue to be visiting here and be a friend and advisor to the president.
You know, it's not like I agree with everything the administration does. So it's like I agree with much of what the administration does, but we have differences of opinion. There are things that I don't entirely agree with. But it's difficult for me to bring that up in an interview because then it creates a bone of contention. So then I'm a little stuck in a bind where I'm like, well, I don't want to, speak out against the administration, but I don't want to. I also don't want to take responsibility for everything the administration is doing.
In Washington, federal workers say that DOGE has left the government's operations in disarray. And worst of all, it might have all been for nothing. Musk claims to have saved the government $175 billion so far, nowhere close to his original target, or even his revised target. And that was before the president's new spending bill passed the House. According to the Congressional Budget Office, it will add $3.8 trillion to our debt over the next 10 years. It's now being debated in the Senate.
So, I was disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit, doesn't decrease it, and undermines the work that the DOGE team is doing.
I actually thought that when this big, beautiful bill came along. I mean, everything he's done on DOGE gets wiped out in the first year.
I think a bill can be big or it can be beautiful, but I don't know if it can be both. My personal opinion.
And here's where the story gets a little complicated. Right after our interview, CBS News posted a clip of it to promote this very report. It was that part where Musk criticizes Trump's spending bill, and his remarks became news. It went all the way up to the White House.
Mr. President, Elon Musk in a television interview criticized the one big, beautiful bill.
Within 24 hours, Musk announced that his time in the Trump administration was officially over. Out of DOGE, out of government. He said that the reason was that his limited 130-day stint as advisor was ending. But until that moment, he'd been saying that he still intended to work on DOGE part-time.
DOGE is going to continue, just it's as a way of life. And I will have some participation in that, but as I've said publicly, my focus has to be on the companies at this point.
Tesla, Starlink, X, XAI, Neuralink, Optimus Robots, The Boring Company, and SpaceX.
Are all of your businesses related in some way?
Well, I guess you can think of the businesses as things that improve the probable trajectory of civilization. So, for making life multiplanetary or extending life to Mars, the idea there is to ensure the long-term survival of life and consciousness as we know it.